KRUI, Iowa City.
Iowa City. Hello. You're listening to KRUI, 89.7 FM on your radio, KRUI.FM streaming online. My name is Justin Comer. I'm the host of the upcoming show. It's called iHearIC Radio. It's about local music, local art, local musicians, and local artists. Before I jump into the content of today's program, I would like to dedicate this week's show to my friend, Deroja Guamna, who has appeared on this program once before, back in the fall, and his new wife, Sarah Guamna. They were married last night, I guess yesterday afternoon, but the reception was last night. So the whole event concluded when it was nighttime. So, are they married? Here, let me bring in my guest. We're going to have a conversation about this. Welcome back to the studio, my good friend David Clair.
Hello, everyone.
So at a wedding, is it over as soon? Are they married as soon as the ceremony is concluded, or like when do they go from unmarried to married?
When the guy says, "I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry," or whatever.
So it's that moment of the ceremony.
Yes,
that's when they go from. That's when the transition occurs.
Mm-hmm. That is when they have passed the ceremonial threshold.
Okay, so that was probably like 2:53 yesterday afternoon.
That's when the doctors pronounced them
right
together.
Yes, that was time of marriage.
Yes.
So now that I've
piqued your curiosity.
Yeah, we've gone into that for no reason. Why is David joining me here in the studio today? Well, the two of us, along with some of our friends, have been recording some improvised music over the past few years. We've discussed it on the show before. We did a kind of a long episode around Christmas of 2018 about this tradition that we've been keeping going for the past few years. And what do you have to say about it?
That it's a lot of fun, and it's just kind of some guys getting together and bringing kind of whatever we have in our closets, and just keeping things light, whatever comes to us.
The things in our closets are mostly musical instruments, not skeletons.
Yes, that is. Well, I mean, you can speak for yourself, but
I don't bring any skeletons to the table.
Yeah, and I'll not add anything to that.
Yeah. So this tradition includes myself, David, and our friends Chris Emery, Roland Hart, and Alex Taylor. We've all known each other since we were teenagers, so that's kind of how this group. That's why we work together, I guess, is because we've known each other so long and we've played in musical groups previously. And this started around New Year's Eve of
subtract 4 years.
15, I think.
2015,
right?
that's
yeah.
right.
Yeah. Going into 2016. And Chris, who has been sort of traveling around the country the past few years and abroad. He was in Europe for a few months as well. He was home for the holidays, and we just sort of impulsively decided that we would record some music at my house because I had just moved into a bigger place. So I had like a dedicated space for music. Mm-hmm. So Chris came over and we just sort of recorded some stuff over a couple of hours. And then that turned into music for cats.
New Year's Eve for cats.
That's right. There's I don't want to say real, but like a more publicized album called Music for Cats. And we were sort of like, our music has nothing to do with it, but that's what we had been talking about. So that's where the title came from.
Right.
As well as it being New Year's Eve, of course. Mm-hmm. And then the year after that, we were talking about doing it again and making it sort of a recurring event every year. And we brought you in, and then Roland also joined us.
He joined
that
us for
year.
about half that session.
Right.
We did it over the course of 2 days that
That's
time.
right.
That was
That was the most extensive. Like,
yes, and that led to actually 2 albums, a part 1 and 2.
the omnidimensional microphone. Ooh. I've played many excerpts from that on this radio show. And then the year after that, so this is around New Year's Eve of 2017, we recorded again, and that's when Alex joined us.
Yep.
So that's when we became a quintet.
Still without a name.
Right. Well, we just use our last names for this. So initially the idea, I don't know if we've ever talked about this on air. I don't think so. But it was when we were leading up to New Year's Eve of 2016, and you were going to join Chris and I. I had the idea in my head that we would call it Emery, Clair, Comer, because it's like sort of close to Emerson, Lake, and Palmer.
Yeah. That's, I mean, I thought about that once and like how amazing that is because Emery, Emerson.
Pretty close.
Clair and Lake, not so much, but they're both 1-syllable names with an A.
Yeah.
For the vowel.
And an L as the second letter.
Yeah, like Lake has 2 L's at the start, like llama.
Whoops. L is the A letter in the name.
No, A is the A letter. L is the L letter.
L is the L letter. L letter.
Uh-huh.
All right, well,
It's
whatever.
been 5 minutes and already the DJ's tongue is completely tied.
Yeah, this is how I do it. And then the third name, which is mine.
Comer and Palmer, so they both have mer in them. That's French for the sea, by the way.
Right. Although, isn't it spelled M-U-R, the French? L'amour.
No, it's M-E-R.
What's M-U-R?
Not sure.
Whatever. Anyway, but then that kind of got thrown off because Roland joined us, so we added Hart. So it's so now the name is Emery, Clair, Comer, Hart, Taylor, which is getting a little unwieldy, but I still kind of like it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of super groups just use their last names because of the name recognition alone sells it, and because all of you know who all of we are from
Right.
we're
a super group, yeah.
other projects. Yeah, we just think we are super.
Everyone knows us, yeah.
I have an update based on your question from about 3:05 p.m.
Okay.
Which it still is. Mur in French, M-U-R, that means wall.
Oh, okay. So M-E-R is C. The C, like water.
Yes,
Okay.
M-E-R-C, Merc.
Right. This is getting to be too much. Anyway, so Alex joined us for the last 2 sessions, which were late 2017 and late 2018. I did not get basically any work done in 2018 on the recorded improvisations from 2017.
And why is that?
Mostly I was just really busy all year. I had a full-time job, and I was working... Well, the very beginning of 2018, I was playing a musical in Cedar Rapids, which took up a lot of time, and I was driving back and forth every time I was doing that. And I was writing music for a dance project with Jason, which came... Like, I had all of this going on in just January. So I started off, like, right off the gate, like, dying of lack of sleep and no free time at all. So I got... no work done for a long time, and then I just like kept kicking the can down the road. Yeah.
For those of you who aren't aware, Justin started a radio show called iHearIC during that time period as well.
Oh, well, that started like right before that. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
The pilot season, as I refer to it in my head. This is the first time I've referred to it as that out loud. The pilot season started of October of 2017.
Only local cable networks picked up the show.
Right. I think I did 6 or 7 episodes in 2017, and then picked up a couple weeks into 2018 with the first guest that I ever had on the show, Christine Burke.
Good times.
Okay, so I've got so moving up to like current time. Over the last couple of months, I like made a real effort to finish working on these tracks that we recorded in 2017 and 18. And I was finishing one every like 5 days or so since March, I think is what I've been doing.
Yep.
Yeah. So I've taken on the responsibility of being like the primary audio editor and producer of this series.
Yeah, the rest of us were hard at work cheering you on via instant messenger.
Right. Yeah, we have a group chat where we talk about stuff and I update them on the progress. I sort of taken the lead, I guess, since it happens at my house.
Yeah, and you have all the recordings, and so we literally cannot.
Well, I could, if you wanted, I could just send it to you.
Yeah, and I'm not much of a producer.
Sure.
I have to learn. I need to job shadow somebody.
You've done like some very good work on your own, I will say.
Yeah, I think I've come a long way in the past few months.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have anything to show for it yet, but we'll see someday.
Yeah.
I've got big plans.
We'll feature it on this show, I'm sure. So part of what we're doing today is we're gonna, the two of us, listen to some of these tracks, and we're doing basically a production meeting live on air. So we're letting everyone in on our like secret process.
Yes, let's all go to a very boring business meeting.
Oh yeah, if you don't know, the theme music for every episode of iHearIC Radio is called "Let's All Go to a Boring Meeting." So hopefully it's not too boring today, but that is very much what's happening today. We're all going to a meeting of some sort.
It'll be fun. The music was tailor-made to be fun and enjoyable and light and silly. And
right, that's kind of what we're doing when we're playing together. Like, we're not taking it very seriously.
Yeah, it's not high concept. Not to take away from the fact that we're trying our hardest and everything. We're not like, I don't know. We're putting in 100%.
Yeah.
It's just a little more light than you'd expect.
Yeah, subject matter is not very deep.
We're not tackling the issues of the day so much.
Yeah. And yeah, part of my motivation for doing this on the radio is that I guess I want to like inspire and sort of demystify the process for anyone that might be listening who like has creative intuitions of their own but sort of feels like they don't know what they're doing, because I don't know really what I'm doing, or I didn't. Mm-hmm. You just sort of like, you wing it. No one really cares. Like no one's like really listening to what we're making, right? I think that's probably a fair summation.
I've tried to have my parents listen to it, and
people that know us give it a shot.
Yeah,
but
you gotta twist their wrists a little bit. But
we don't have that wide of a reach, is what I'm saying. So there's not a lot of stakes involved. So once you get that, like, once that's like clear in your mind that like you're not gonna hurt yourself by just like starting, even if you feel inexperienced, just go for it.
Yeah, we are independent artists.
That's pretty much what we're doing. We're just sort of, flying by the seat of our pants. And on that subject,
pants? On the subject of pants?
Yeah, on the subject of...
What pants are you wearing today, Justin?
The seat of my pants. I'm wearing my blue basketball shorts.
Okay, so not pants at all.
Yeah, well, what pants are you wearing?
I'm wearing corduroy brown today.
Mm-hmm, very nice.
Yes.
You've got a nice green and brown ensemble going on.
That's right.
You look kind of like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
Oh, no, that's true, isn't it?
Yeah.
Zoink, Scoob!
Yeah, I'm wearing my blue basketball shorts and a Deadpool t-shirt.
Yes.
Very cool guy walking around town.
Mm-hmm.
I have my backpack full of Star Wars: The Clone Wars DVDs as well.
Yes, and not to mention that it's a bright purple backpack next to your red sunglasses.
Yeah, I'm really cool today.
Yeah.
The coolest I've ever been.
I mean, you're approaching 30 years old and you're still on the college radio station, so.
That's right. Okay, we're getting close to where we need to play a PSA, so I need to run through a little bit of an explanation on like the technical aspects of this.
Yes, I will not talk unless I need to, which is all the time.
No, you can chime in whenever.
Okay.
So on the subject of flying by the seat of our pants, we've recorded all these in my house. The first one, which was just Chris and I, was recorded in the spare bedroom of our house where I have all of my musical equipment. And then since then, we've recorded every one of these in the garage of our house. So it's really cold. And the acoustics are not ideal.
Raw.
What you'd expect from a garage, I guess.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can hear the heating system in the house. You can hear sometimes the space heater that I have running in the garage because it's not insulated and it's, late December.
It's a garage band in every sense of the word.
Yeah. Every inch of this is very garage produced. And the first, the omnidimensional microphone recordings, I just had us all running through a mixer, going through a couple of like large speakers that I have, and then I put microphones on the other side of the room. So the recording is just like recording the space, and like whatever we were putting through those speakers, that ended up going into the microphones and laid down on the track.
You can say that's a throwback. I mean, that's how they used to do it back in the day before they had high budget produced miking every drum of the drum set.
Yeah. We just sort of record the space, and that's the same is true for the 2017 recordings, which is what we'll be listening to today. But then this most recent recording session, which was December
31st. It wasn't this year.
Yeah, it wasn't. Actually, I think only the first 2 years were actually on New Year's Eve. And since then, it's just been like around then.
Yes.
Whenever everyone's in town and able to hang out.
A parenthetical New Year's Eve.
Right. It's close enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, this most recent one, I upgraded a little bit. So I still recorded the space with a video camera, which has very nice microphones on it. So it's getting everything, pretty accurately. But then I also used the handheld Zoom recorder that we use for ImpedeCast with Michelle Guild, and I plugged that directly into the mixer. So if there's like we have a bunch of keyboards plugged directly into the mixer, and then that output is going straight into a recorder. So those instruments are recorded very cleanly compared to everything that came before that.
Yes.
So there's a lot of like really much higher audio quality in the most recent recordings. Mm-hmm. But we'll probably not be getting to those today.
Save that for a future date.
Yeah. And by the way, our production meetings are going to be like a series throughout the summer. We don't have the next date planned out yet, but we're sort of, going through these as we have time.
Mm-hmm. Everyone who's already excited for this thrilling hour of us talking about garages.
That's right. There will be more hours of this upcoming. And speaking of time, it's currently 3:17, so I need to play a PSA very quickly. So 1 second.
If you're struggling to pay the mortgage, Making Home Affordable is a free government resource that can make it easier. Call 888-995-HOPE or visit makinghomeaffordable.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Treasury, HUD, and the Ad Council.
And we are back. If you're struggling with your mortgage, please take the friendly advice that you just heard and pursue it. I wasn't listening closely, but I know that was what it was about. Okay, so I think we might be ready to jump in. Although a brief explanation. So for the omnidimensional microphone releases, David and I spent a few hours in summer of 2017, it would have been.
Yep.
Sort of listening to everything that we'd recorded and worked on and brainstorming like how we're going to release these.
That was my contribution to the group, was we listened to them in my apartment.
That's right. And
not that it matters where it takes place because it's just us brainstorming. But.
Right. So we were brainstorming title ideas and I guess listening for any other like edits that needed to be made to the audio. Although I think at that point we had pretty much like settled things.
Yeah.
We were fine with how it was. And also deciding what order the tracks were going to be in. And that was when we decided like how it was going to be split into 2 albums as well. Because we had too much time for one CD, which is how I think about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
78 minutes or something.
Never exceed 80. You can fit like exactly 80 on there, but you want a little buffer room, of course.
Right.
So, I guess I can get into the details here of the 2017 recordings because we're going to start listening and brainstorming our ideas. And if you're listening at home and you would like to give us your ideas,
this is a collaborative process, and we're all here in this meeting together.
Yeah, since we're opening this up to everyone listening to the radio right now, if you have any ideas as we are listening to these tracks that you would like to put out there and send to us, you can reach us at iHearIC@gmail.com or on Twitter at iHearIC, and that's IHEARIC. I'm not going to be answering the phone because I decided I would rather have these things in writing and have some way of communicating back and forth with you.
So if you're in the car listening to this, make sure that you have a scribe in seat number 2, whether that's your teenage daughter or your dog or an elf or whoever it is.
Please do not email or tweet and drive. It's not safe.
Correct.
You can pull off to the side of the road maybe if it's really urgent. You can email or tweet us if you have anything, any ideas, anything at all that like these tracks make you think of that you think is worthy of us knowing. Any of your thoughts that you want to share with us,
even if it's just like a shopping list.
Yeah, anything, honestly. But yeah, I would like it in writing, so I have some way of writing back to you should we pursue your ideas to any capacity. All right, let's get started then.
Okay.
Ready? I have
I have to pull out my notebook first.
Okay, I have a notebook in front of me, so I can write down anything that I need to. Thank you for audibly placing your notebook on the table.
Yes. It's pocket-sized.
All right, and this was recorded December 28th of 2017. It features me on the Yamaha DD55, which is a little drum pad machine, electronic drums, and my laptop, so I'm playing samples or something, I don't know. And then Chris Emery, David Clair, and Alex Taylor on various percussion instruments, and Roland Hart on the penny whistle. And the code name that I have for this track, which you could maybe guess from what I just told you of the instrumentation, is called Drums and Whistle. So we're probably not going to stick with that as the track title.
We might go whistle and drums.
Right. Yeah. As we listen, we're going to be writing down any sort of ideas that we have for what we want this to be called and perhaps where it might be placed on a track list. Although we'll probably get a better idea of that as we go and listen to more of these. Mm-hmm. Okay, here we go. Drums and Whistle, begin. Okay, that was Drums and Whistle, recorded December 28th of 2017.
You're going to be hearing that a lot today.
Yeah, I will be reiterating things multiple times just so everyone is on the same page. Did you get all of your thoughts written down, or do you have anything you have to
Well, not all my thoughts.
speak immediately?
Everything related to what we're talking about. No, I don't have anything sudden.
Okay, because we got to do a weather report real quick.
Okay.
We do have obligations to the radio station despite our current production meeting. Okay, it is 3:29, almost 3:30, on a Sunday, May 26th. It is mostly cloudy, according to my informants at weather.com. The temperature is 76 degrees Fahrenheit. We have a 0% chance of precipitation, 60% humidity, and wind coming from the west at 7 miles per hour. This has been the official KRUI weather report for the 3 o'clock hour, presented by iHearIC Radio and your host,
Ding, dong, dong, dong,
Justin Comer, and his guest, David Clair.
That's me.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I mentioned to you, I think in private, that I should start doing a jingle for the weather report because, as we know, it's the most anticipated part of any radio show here on KRUI.
Well, now you don't really have to. You can just use what I just was jamming to and just crop out your voice.
Yeah, I'll go
that's
back
how it
and
works.
yeah, I'll go back and I can EQ my voice out.
Yep, just cut the dotted line square around Justin Comer and drag it into your deleted items folder.
Yeah, because you and I have such distinct vocal qualities. The harmonics and the frequencies of our voices are completely distinct from one another, and I can easily just EQ myself out of that clip.
I'm starting to get a sense that you're maybe being a little sarcastic here.
Yeah, I'm sure we have some vocal overlap.
Yeah, I have this tendency to kind of morph my mannerisms into whoever I'm with. So maybe I need to differentiate myself more.
Yeah.
And talk in my normal voice, which is up here.
It's like I'm looking in a mirror. It's like I'm listening to a mirror. Okay, so do you want to tell me what you have written down for that track we just listened to?
Sure. So here's the thought process that went through my head. Well, the first thing was that that droning bass drum.
Yeah.
So I wrote heartbeat because that's a bit cliched.
Yeah.
And I wrote whirring machine. And then I thought, what happens when you combine a machine and a heart? You get like hospital equipment,
Right.
like an MRI or something. And then I thought about like robots. And so I wrote vital signs. And then I wrote cyborg vital signs.
Oh, nice.
And that's pretty cool. And then I shifted focus and thought about like a factory. Because again, it was very industrial, percussion-y stuff, mostly coming from you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wrote factory, but it's animals. Because it was still a little wild. There was some natural drums in there, and then the whistle was like an aminal. And so I wrote bird in the machine.
Nice.
And then I wrote NASA, but it's animals. Because I think that'd be really funny.
Yeah, NASA, but both A's stand for animals.
Yeah. Like if you, like how NASA does that thing where they're trying to get astronauts acclimated to space. They make them go through that spinny thing.
Yeah.
But I thought of, what if it's like a little pig or a monkey? It'd be funny.
Yeah, yeah.
That's something to do
Did
with
they
the
do that
music.
with the chimpanzee that they sent into space?
I don't know.
What's that thing called? I always forget the name of the spinning thing.
It's called a tilt-a-whirl.
Okay, sure. I'm not going to pursue that any further. Before I talk about the notes that I took, we do have a note from our collaborator, Chris Emery. When he heard this, his ideas for titles were The Tribes of Tularemia Gather, or alternatively, Gathering of the Tribes of Tularemia.
So wait, how is tularemia spelled? Is that like Tool? Like
No, it's Tularemia, and I'm not 100% sure on the pronunciation.
Oh, that's like just west of Zambosia, right?
According to Chris, it is a bacterial infection.
Oh,
Yeah, he did explain that.
well, it was a poor name for whoever named that geographic region.
Mm-hmm. And so far, we have not received any emails or tweets regarding this track. It's not too late. iHearIC@gmail.com or tweet at iHearIC, and we will take your thoughts into consideration.
We aren't married to these ideas.
Yeah, we're just shooting things out there.
Yeah.
Throwing out our ideas. Okay.
We're not going to cattle prod the names of each track on the back of Justin's chest at the end of this radio show.
Right.
That's like tomorrow.
Yep.
When well, I guess it'd be Tuesday because usually the cattle prodders are closed for Memorial Day.
Yeah, Memorial Day is tomorrow, so
Yeah.
we're not going to be able to do that. Here are my notes. Military. Unison kind of falls apart.
Uh-huh.
Progressively multi-temporal.
Okay, I didn't realize we were getting a little intellectual
Sorry,
here. I probably shouldn't have written down bird in the machine.
I got a little bit pretentious there with progressively multi-temporal.
Or PMT?
That works. PMT. I'm going to write that down, actually. PMT. I wrote a potential edit to the audio. It might be a little long. That track is 7 minutes and 46 seconds.
It did look like it was getting a little hot there at the end also on the readout. It was in the red.
Yeah, on the board here?
Yeah.
It was okay over there on the Audacity recording, so I think we're okay.
Okay.
But after listening to the whole thing, I think it works. Like, I don't think it's too long. I think the progression is fine.
Yeah.
I wrote a note as to the track order. I don't think this would be a good opener or closer.
I agree.
So somewhere in the middle. And then I wrote a few more ideas about what I was hearing. It's a marching army, not quite in lockstep. There are hints of feedback. You can hear that in the acoustic percussion instruments sometimes. There's like a little bit of a ringing sound after them. Mm-hmm. Large group on the verge of falling apart. Barely holding on to control. And finally a brief panic or frenzy near the end. So the theme I'm hearing in terms of like there's that bass drum beat and then a second bass drum joins in that's not quite the same tempo, so you start getting like a like a heartbeat kind of sound.
Yeah.
But it's not consistent.
There was a modern composer that did that a lot, where he would take like two simultaneous recordings and then slightly offset them. Do you remember who that is?
I know that Frank Zappa has done that. Ives did it with like acoustic music. He was tape recordings. But
Yeah.
Lots of people have done that sort of thing.
It's an interesting concept. It kind of puts the listener at unease.
Yeah, I'm very into like contrasting tempos. Like I wrote a marimba duet where one of them is playing at quarter note equals 120 and the other is playing at quarter note equals 121.
And this can be played live?
Oh, yeah, we tried it a couple times. It's not like the greatest result, but I think like with enough practice, I think it would have been really good.
Yeah.
I was satisfied with the conclusion, but it could have been better had we been given more time.
Sure.
So that's like why I was playing two bass drum samples like clashing with each other like that.
Mm-hmm.
So the theme to me is that like we're like barely keeping this thing under control. Like stuff is starting to phase out of time with each other, and feedback is like almost breaking out, but just barely being held back.
We're bursting at the seams.
Yeah. So
yeah, I kind of like that idea, and I think that the title should reflect it in some sort of way.
Okay. What was your cyborg vital signs? Is that what it was?
Cyborg vital signs.
Cyborg vital signs. I like that that phrase.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if we're at a conclusion for a track title for that one yet.
Yeah. I mean, we could always just go with Chris's, which was, what about something about tempura, right?
Tularemia. I do think, that word can be included for sure.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of instrumental tracks don't make sense anyways.
Yeah, we can go into a Pink Floyd direction.
Yes.
Okay, do we want to try another one?
No, I think we're good for the day.
Okay, meeting adjourned. We have gone through one track over the course of 38 minutes.
Yes.
So we should try to get a few more.
Soldier on.
A few more of these laid down. Okay, the next one, the code name is Recorders and Whistles. So there's a little bit of a similarity with the previous one. There's whistles involved. This one's only about 5 minutes long, so it's a bit shorter. And we're missing the percussive element of the first track. I can tell you that myself and Chris Emery are playing recorders, and Roland, Alex, and David Clair are playing penny whistles.
Oh, it's this one.
Yes, it's this one. Lots of very high wind sounds in this one.
Yes, I mean, it'll be easy to listen to in the car.
Yeah, I did a lot of EQ work on this one to make it tolerable, but some may still not enjoy it. So if you do not enjoy it, I'm not going to say that I apologize, but I am sympathetic to your concern.
We understand, and we will change nothing.
Yeah, probably not at this point. I think I'm satisfied with where it's at, but I'll make a note if I'm not. Okay, here's Recorders and Whistles, recorded December 28th of 2017.
Support for KRUI is provided by Little Village. Little Village is Iowa City's independent, community-supported news and culture publication. Little Village's event calendar connects readers with critical cultural opportunities. Through journalism, essays, and events, Little Village works to improve our community according to core values: affordability and access, economic and labor justice, environmental sustainability, racial justice, gender equity, quality healthcare, quality education, and critical culture. Little Village can be found in print editions at local businesses in Iowa City, as well as online at littlevillagemag.com.
Hey, you're listening to iHearIC Radio here on KRUI. I'm Justin Comer. I'm here with David Clair.
Hello, I'm here.
Thank you. And together we are engaged in a production meeting for some garage improvisation recordings that we have had sort of in the tank for about a year and a half. We're sort of deciding what they are and what to do with them. So the one that we just listened to before that Little Village grant spot has the code name Recorders and Whistles, and as the code name suggests, features those instruments. So we're taking notes here about what we want to do with these, and let me check my, I have a note here from our collaborator, Chris Emery, and his suggested title for this is Coyote City, and he said that it sounds like coyotes howling with the dissonance of industrialized society.
Yeah, I mean, it does sound like a Times Square, but for coyotes.
Yeah, maybe like tiny coyotes.
Coyotes, but sped up, because they're always on the go, because New York is a very on-the-go sort of place.
Right.
That's insightful, right?
New Coyote City. So, I made it a point to not read the notes that I have here before we started listening, just because I didn't want to taint any brain waves that came out of my own brain with the brain waves of others.
Yep.
I wanted to be a little clear before I got started. But I did sort of go in a similar direction to Chris. Here are my notes as I wrote them. Consonants. Surprisingly consonant and coherent.
Yeah.
For five guys messing around on whistles and recorders. And I wrote down beep beep motive, because a little bit into it you start hearing a beep beep, and then we're imitating each other with that sort of beep beep at different octaves and stuff.
Did you say motif?
Motive. Yeah. It's just sort of a composition term, some small musical idea that
I thought that was what
the
motif
basis of
meant.
other things. It's basically the same.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think motif is generally a little bit bigger than a motive. A motif is maybe a few seconds, a small theme, and a motive is a tiny theme, just 2 or 3 notes or rhythmic ideas.
Okay.
That form the building block of a larger idea.
Yeah.
But it's basically it's the same idea.
Okay. I mean, you went to school for this, so I'll take your word for it.
It's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
So the beep beep motive made me think of cars, boats, some sort of vehicles, but tiny.
Do boats beep?
Initially I was thinking tugboat with the way that the beep beep thing sounded.
Oh.
Beep, beep.
But a lot of tugboats, like a tugboat convention.
Yeah, several tugboats tugging around each other.
Yeah. TugCon.
Yeah. And then in the interest of incorporating every sound that we hear in this recording, I noticed that the heat kicks on at about 2 minutes in. You can hear the heat on my house turning on because it's in the next room in the basement.
I'll have to say I didn't catch that. I was a little bit distracted by the remaining 5 sounds. But
Yeah. Well, I hear this furnace and the AC every day, so I'm very familiar with how it sounds. So if we're in the fiction of this being a bunch of vehicles, that's a sound of exhaust or something.
Yeah.
A potential audio edit, it still might be a little piercing at about 3 minutes. One of the whistles kicks in very hard and very high. So I might EQ that a little bit more. I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
In terms of order, I think this is also not an opener or a closer.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, if we want to lessen our bass even more.
Yeah. And then a little bit more of a thematic idea, since I was on the vehicle thing earlier. Traffic, rush hour, traffic patterns, just phrases to think about.
Yeah.
What did you write down over there?
Well, I'll have to admit that I was a little bit distracted at first. I didn't write too many thoughts down because I did get a text message from my mother who is listening to this show.
Hi. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, she wanted us to stop talking and get back to the whistles.
Oh, great. Okay.
However, with the limitations of the written word, I'm not sure whether that was sarcastic or not.
I'm sure she was more interested in hearing the whistles than us speaking.
Oh, okay.
Well, she is your mom, so you would know better than I, probably, when
Yeah.
she's being sarcastic.
Yes. I'm on the fence. She'll have to write in and let us know, along with her thoughts for titles.
Yes.
Yes.
And if you are listening and you have thoughts for titles, you can reach us by email or Twitter, iHearIC@gmail.com or at iHearIC.
Yes. My notes, I did write down more whistles with an exclamation point. I wrote preschool, but it's animals. I mean, yeah, I guess kind of the thought I had was just like a whole bunch of little voices that were all kind of vying for attention. I guess similar to the Cars thing, but instead of cars, it's animals. So
Yeah.
like instead of Pixar, it's whatever that studio was that did Rio with the birds.
Was that a DreamWorks thing?
I think DreamWorks might have bought them recently.
Bought what?
No, Disney, I think. I think it might have been a 20th Century Fox
Okay.
division. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
And nobody saw that movie anyway. And then I was still thinking about birds, and so I wrote down the freaky, 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 freaky room.
That's good.
And that took me so long to write that I wrote nothing else.
Okay. Great. Yeah, you seem to be on kind of an animal kick today, which is fine.
I don't kick animals for the listener.
Sorry, I don't mean, a physical kick, but animals on the brain.
That's right.
Yeah.
Animals.
Speaking of Pink Floyd.
Yeah, pigs on the wing.
Yeah. And speaking of DreamWorks, the next track has the code name Shark Tale.
Wow.
Yeah, I swear I didn't plan that out. But yeah, it looks like we are also not in like finalized territory for a title for that one yet.
No, I suppose
Maybe
not.
something to ruminate more on. But we've got some crossover with our ideas here. I think we're going to find common ground soon.
Yep.
Okay, do you want to dig into Shark Tale?
I do want to dig into Shark Tale, but again, it's not like physically digging into a shark. That's cruel even for them.
Yeah. I don't know. I keep like using these turns of phrase today that are like, I don't talk like this in real life. Anyway, Shark Tale. This was also recorded December 28th of 2017.
Wow.
This features David Clair on the Korg Triton Extreme. I'm very specific with my keyboard models in my instrumentation notes here.
It was a 76 key, if we're going to be even more specific.
Thank you. Yeah, there are different models of that.
Yeah, they've discontinued that. The Korg Kronos is the new one, but that's still been around for close to 10 years, I think. So I kind of want one, but they might be close to redoing it again.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Moving on, Chris Emery is playing the penny whistle and rain stick on this one. Alex Taylor is playing a recorder and rain stick.
Wait, are you saying that there's more whistles?
There's some carryover here with the high wind sounds. But we've got some low wind sounds as well because Roland Hart is playing the contrabass clarinet, making its debut on this series of recordings.
And probably any song ever.
Well, no, there's lots of contrabass clarinet out there and orchestral recordings and stuff like that.
I suppose so.
It made its debut in my garage that day.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And then I am playing, again, the Yamaha DD55 drum machine, drum pad, electronic drum set, as well as the Nintendo DS. That's
right.
Which is why this is called Shark Tale. I don't want to incriminate myself, but I am sampling something on the DS here.
I mean, people that get bigger paychecks than you sample things all the time, so...
Yeah, not every sample is cleared out there and by the major studios, probably.
Yeah, but I think that's one of the movies that they want you to forget, so...
Yeah. So Shark Tale will not be involved in the final product because I want to obscure the fact that I'm stealing music from an old Shark Tale video game. But let's give it a listen. This is Shark Tale. It's about 6 minutes long. We have reached the top of the hour. You're listening to KRUI in Iowa City. It's 89.7 FM on the radio, KRUI.FM on the internet. My name is Justin Comer. You are tuned into iHearIC Radio.
Can you dig it?
I'm riding the wave of the last little bit of that track because it's very soothing.
I wrote down ASMR rain stick there at the end.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, nice. I'm joined right now by David Clair. He and I were both performers on that track you just heard, as well as our friends Chris, Roland, and Alex. Today we're having sort of a production meeting here on the air, sort of making sense of the stuff we recorded about a year and a half ago and deciding what we'd like to do with it.
We've made a lot of progress so far.
Yeah, we're 3 tracks in out of 10 from 2017, which is we're moving right along.
Yeah, and so far we know that we're going to place those first 2 songs somewhere in the lineup.
Yeah.
It's not the start of the end.
I do have an update as far as track order goes.
Oh.
Because, I wrote something down for this one as well. I might as well just jump in with my notes on that last one. The drum set sounds like thunder, which I was doing. I was playing the electronic drums through an effects pedal, doing some sort of weird wah-wah thing to it, making it sound like thunder, kind of. Mm-hmm. The keyboard chords at the beginning sound like a meditation tape.
Yeah, I think it was the flute pad voice.
Yeah, and then later I added the note rain stick, which also lends itself to both the meditation tape and the thunder sound. I wrote a note in terms of track order. I think this has closer potential. This could maybe be a closer.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah. We'd have to hear the rest of the tracks first, but this might be one that we put at the end.
I mean, if we do end with this, then it will leave the audience with a good feeling.
Yeah, it's a nice, calm track.
Yeah.
I wrote that the contrabass clarinet has elephantine qualities. Is that a real word?
Elephantitis is a word.
Yeah, I'm going to say elephantine.
Okay.
Elephantine is probably a better pronunciation.
Yeah, that was like a tenor singer, right?
Yeah.
Elephantine.
Elephantina Turner.
Okay.
That doesn't make any sense. But I'm going back to my stupid, pretentious words choicing. I went ahead and just negated the pretentiousness right away by saying words choicing.
The Englishness of it.
I do have a decent phrase here as like a possible title. Meditating elephant distressed by coming storm. So that sort of combined all of the thoughts I had.
That sounds like an improv prompt.
Yeah, Drew Carey enjoys that suggestion from the audience.
Yep.
Speaking of suggestions from the audience, if you have thoughts on the tracks we're listening to today, you can write them down and send them to ihearic@gmail.com or tweeting at ihearic. And one final note on that track, I wrote Shark Tale Anagram. Because that's what I've done in the past when I've sampled existing copyrighted material is I do some sort of anagram of whatever it was as my title.
So like Shale cart.
I don't do it. Maybe it's not an anagram if the resulting order of letters doesn't make any sense, but just sort of a reordering of letters.
Yeah, so like Shale cart.
Yeah, on my solo album Stinkcom, there's a track that has a sample from, I believe, Atomic Punk by Van Halen, and the title of my track is the letters in Van Halen in a different order. And then I did...
what was it?
I don't remember.
Nonsense?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
But I also kept the capitalization of the V and the H, and I used the space as one of the randomized characters. And I did the same with one of the tracks on our Home Improvement album.
Yes. That was the one that you had created like completely in studio, right?
Yeah. Do you have notes on Shark Tale?
Yes. So in trying not to be swayed by Shark Tale, I thought of like, what if it was the Shark Tale story, but like it was people? And then I just thought it was Aquaman.
Human Tale.
Yes. So
Although I think the tail in Shark Tale is supposed to be like a reference to them having tails.
Perhaps. I think it's still spelled L-E.
Yeah, it's T-A-L-E, but sharks have tails, so
yeah.
It maybe is supposed to be a reference like that.
Yeah, just like A Bug's Life, like bugs have
They have lives.
They have lives. Yeah.
Yeah. So the people equivalent would be human butt.
Right. But I just wrote Aquaman, but it's animals.
Good.
Okay. Other things that I wrote down, rainstorm in the municipal pool. That was an experience I had once, although it wasn't a municipal pool. It was like my aunt's pool. I remember there was raining and it caused like a lot of waves, and it was kind of calming, but it was also chaotic at the same time, and it was very nice.
Mm-hmm. Drawing from life experience there.
Mm-hmm. And then I kind of thought it also sounds like music from a planetarium.
Oh.
So then I wrote meteor shower, because that's kind of like water, the shower part.
Sure.
Sort of. I wrote automatic car wash because that's also a water thing. The contra bass clarinet sounded like a whale to me. It sounded like whale calls. So I wrote whale calls. And then ASMR rain stick again.
Right.
So,
Okay. Yeah. There's a lot of overlap there too.
Yeah. We could come to a conclusion on this one, and
We
see
maybe
we made
could.
progress.
We maybe could. I think we should scrap my elephant thing because I think whale is more accurate, but also it's similar.
Yeah.
I do like. Okay. Tell me about the municipal pool thing again. What was the phrase
I
you
just
wrote
wrote
down?
rainstorm in the municipal pool.
Rainstorm in the municipal pool.
Yeah.
And then you had automatic car wash.
You had that descriptive one with the elephantina.
Yes. The phrase I wrote was meditating elephant distressed by coming storm.
What if it was I already forgot what you said, but replace elephant with whale.
Yeah, meditating whale distressed by coming storm. It has a different like rhythm to it.
Yeah, it does.
Like the elephant, it's got more weight. I don't mean
So you think that an elephant weighs more than a whale?
I don't, but the word elephant is like longer, more syllables, so like when you're saying it, there's more action involved.
Well, that's a bit of a misnomer then, isn't it? Shouldn't whale be like the weightiest animal name?
It should be the hardest word to say.
Yeah, like whale-elephant. Just call it that.
I don't want to put that in there.
I didn't say make the title. I'm saying we should change our English language so that it's whale-elephant now.
Right.
Instead of whale.
That might be outside the scope of this production meeting.
I mean, if any of you have any clout, please email Oxford. Who's in charge of the English language these days?
Probably
I think
yeah.
it's all just kind of like grassroots movement. Start calling them whale-elephants.
Yeah, we're going to do like a populist language uprising. We're taking back our words. Words for the people. Okay, we do need something with a storm or rain. I like the word shower, the meteor shower thing.
Yep.
We do have kind of like an overarching space and sci-fi thing to our previous work. So if we want to have like a meteor shower reference in there, it might fit previous themes. Unless we want to break away from those themes with this new release.
I would consider that.
Yeah.
The first thing you said. He's the meteor shower in there.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it needs a little bit of spice on it, but I think that's a good solid steak. We just need some potatoes and some zest.
Yeah. What about like whales meditation interrupted by meteor shower? I don't think interrupted is good.
I mean, if you're doing a good job meditating, then you should be able to meditate in any environment, yeah? Are you saying that whales just aren't good meditators?
I'm sure they're great because like nothing really can bother them. Whale meditates through meteor shower. In spite of meteor shower. Spiteful whale meditates through meteor shower. Yeah, it's starting to sound like headline news. This is a newspaper article.
This just in. Whale meditates despite meteor shower.
Yeah.
Which really doesn't impact the Earth very much in most situations.
Yeah. I want there to be a whale meditating and then a reference to a weather event in the title. I think we agree on that?
Yes.
Okay.
So meteor shower, whale, meditation, rearrange those in some sort of anagram.
Yeah, I think I don't want to use that here. Like, I think it would be cool to do a Shark Tale anagram, but I don't think it fits the tone of this piece. I'm going to write down whale plus meditation plus weather. Is that
equals fun.
yeah? Whale plus meditation plus weather. Maybe the word shower. Whale plus meditation plus meteor shower.
Yeah.
Those are ideas that we want to incorporate here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then we can revisit it later.
Okay.
But for now, we can continue on with the event of the day. Up next, we've got another feature for the contrabass clarinet. The code name for this track is Vocoder Contra. So what's happening here is, let me pull up the instrumentation list to give you all the details. We've got Roland playing the contrabass clarinet again. We have Chris Emery playing his microkorg. It's a little keyboard. It has a microphone attached to it, so you can do vocoder stuff.
Yep.
So Roland was playing the contrabass clarinet through that microphone, and then Chris was manning the keys on the microkorg. And then I was again playing that electronic drum set. It looks like you and Alex are absent from this one.
Yeah, I think we were just kind of in shock and awe
Just
at
enjoying
the results.
it. Yeah. This is a bit of a shorter track. It's about 3 minutes long. Again, the code name is Vocoder Contra, and our mission today is to find potential other titles and think about other, things to do with this. All right, so here is Vocoder Contra, recorded December 28th of 2017. I forgot there was that little squeak at the end. So that was Vocoder Contra. David, do you want to start with your notes on this one?
Yeah, I didn't have too many thoughts. I just wrote, this is so cool. It's got a nice rhythm to it there after the start.
Yeah.
It sounds very alien.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote UFO Beast.
Nice.
And I wrote Assembly Line. And I wrote Boogie. I don't know if we can do something like ironic with boogie in there, or like some sort of rhythmic dance word.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there is a definite like ostinato rhythm that just keeps happening once you get like a minute in. Da, 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 da. It just keeps going. It doesn't let up. Hey, real quick, before I do my notes, I should have played this before we started talking. You know what? I'll do it after we talk. I got to play a PSA after this. That's all.
Okay.
Okay, so that was all of your notes, right?
Yep.
Okay. We have a few suggestions from Chris from a while back. These are just sort of plays on the vocoder contra combination of words.
So like an anagram.
Not exactly, but similar. He wrote vocontra, which is a portmanteau. Vocontra's vengeance, which is some alliteration, and viva la vocontra, which is some alliteration plus a word for mixing languages. I don't remember.
Yeah,
I'm not smart enough to pull that one off.
I kind of like those just because in that it's very short, and for the most part, it just features one voice. Mm-hmm. You can think of it kind of as like a solo work, and so just kind of saying the title, what it is we're hearing.
Yeah, it conjures up a character as well. The vocontra is like some sort of maybe UFO beast, as you put it.
Yeah, and he, she, it exacts revenge on something.
Yeah. So we like vocontra's vengeance.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I forgot the alliteration.
Right. Yeah, we might consider that. Here are my notes. First off, I wrote very science fiction. I think we can't escape the previous sci-fi influence from our older work.
This is hard sci-fi.
This one, like, obviously, there's like a robot noise.
Yeah, we can't say this is an elephant.
Yeah.
Unless the elephant has like a headset on and is sitting at mission control in Houston.
Yeah, I have further thoughts on that. Oh. Let me get through my notes here. I wrote a cyborg birth.
Okay.
Sort of a play on your previous
it's not how that works.
Cyborg medical situation on one of the previous tracks.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote knock, knock, knock. You know, just the rhythmic thing that's going on there.
Who's there?
Yeah. Drum thunder again, although this time it's more of a noise wall. And as we listen to more of these tracks, I'm sort of in my mind putting together an overarching theme of like machines versus nature. Because all of these keep giving us ideas about like animals or vehicles or robots.
Yes, it's always a combination.
We're sort of like alternating those ideas over and over.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times that it's clashing. You've got like the natural instruments. In this case, it's the contrabass clarinet, and then at the same time, you're kind of morphing it into some sort of cyborg monstrosity.
And it really is a cyborg because there's like a real like human, like his breath is causing the sound, but then it's sort of manipulated or augmented by the vocoder.
Exactly.
There's like a literal cyborg in this recording.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then I wrote a note in terms of track order. This one will need to be contrasted with a mellower track before or after it, I think, to give it more of an impact.
So if we're sort of once again going into concept album territory, and then this is introducing a new character, you might have to put it pretty early on to establish kind of the tone that we're setting.
Yeah, let me write that down. I think it seems like the two of us at least can't really escape like prog. We're always thinking in terms of concept albums or like some sort of narrative to the albums that we're putting together.
Yeah, even though that wasn't really our initial intention, but I mean, kind of throughout the day we're kind of on a wavelength that continues throughout. So
yeah, it seems to always be our inclination.
Yep,
is to end up there. Real quick, I need to play a PSA, and then we will get right back into this production meeting.
According to Bundle.com, the average utility bill for Iowans is $183 per month. I agree that seems a bit high. Green Iowa AmeriCorps is here to help by offering free home audits and weatherizations if you're a veteran, low-income household, or disabled. Green Iowa AmeriCorps is a nonprofit organization helping to make Iowans more energy efficient through low-impact home weatherizations, energy education, and community outreach. For more information or to sign up for your free audit, call us at 319-784-2735, email us at greeniowacr@gmail.com, or find us on the web at www.greeniowaamericorps.org.
Welcome back to iHearIC Radio on KRUI. I'm Justin. That's David over there.
Hi, I'm over here.
There's your microphone. Sorry about that.
I'm over here.
We are currently in the process of listening to some tracks we recorded back around New Year's Eve of 2017, and we are putting our thoughts down on paper and down into microphones, broadcasting it to the Iowa City area, and recording it for all of time.
That's right.
Sort of giving the whole world an insight into how we
think and why you should be concerned.
Yeah, how we put things together when we are making music and releasing it to the world. Up next, we have a track with the code name Randomly But With Purpose, which was, I believe, something you said as we were recording.
I don't remember saying it, but I remember you telling me that that's what I said, so I'm going to say that I said that.
Yep, so that's why I just put that as the code name for this track. Instrumentation-wise, this features David Clair on the fish.
On the fish.
Yeah. The percussion instrument fish.
Right, so it's a percussion instrument, but it's animals.
Fish. Yeah, we're very animal-focused, it seems, on this collection of recordings.
Well, I am anyway.
Yeah. I'm getting there. I wrote down stuff about elephants and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we had a shark tale. Yeah, I think, I really think machines versus nature is like a real concept here.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're not just saying this because the Terminator trailer was released a couple days ago.
I didn't even know that, so it definitely was not influencing me.
It looks okay.
Alex Taylor is playing percussion. I was not as specific with him. He must have played more than one instrument while you were solely on the fish.
See if you can guess.
Yeah. Roland Hart is playing the mandolin. Chris Emery is playing the banjo. And I am playing the Music Maker lap harp, which I still don't really know what it is. It's something that Chris brought over to my house. It's sort of like an auto harp kind of thing.
Oh, that thing.
Yeah. I was doing some extended techniques that I was developing independently on that instrument. So this is a very acoustic track as compared to the previous ones we've been hearing.
So we could maybe put it further up and then later the machines intervene.
We've got another machines versus nature thing here.
Or we could do
acoustic versus electronic.
Yeah, or we could do like a complete 180 in that we're on a very highly mechanized world, and then the animals come in and they're scourge on the earth, and that gives the message that no one wants to hear, which is nature bad.
Well, not necessarily bad. It's also sort of like, I don't remember the lyrics to this, but there's that Talking Heads song, Nothing But Flowers. Do you know it?
I do not.
It's sort of about like industrialized society being overgrown and reclaimed by nature.
Oh, like
that's sort of what's going on in the lyrics.
Yeah, that actually reminds me of one of my favorite book series, is the Far Reach trilogy. There's a movie about it recently, Annihilation, which is like, they're a government organization going into a part of the world that was infested by a mysterious alien force. Leads to a bunch of overgrowth and strange things happen.
Yeah. I haven't read or watched any of that, but
that's okay.
Again, we're in sci-fi territory.
Yes, this is hard sci-fi.
Definitely the kind of stuff that we are accustomed to at this point. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, it also reminds me of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Most things do.
Yeah, that kind of happens to be running around in my head a lot of the time. But yeah, there's a very
that's funny.
Yeah, sorry. There's a very much like robots versus animals thing going on in that series as well.
Yep.
sort of the basis of the whole thing is
what
that
a coinky-dink.
Animals are being captured and forced to run robots. They become roboticized, as expounded upon in the Archie Comics series Sonic the Hedgehog and related spin-offs. Not something I was anticipating revealing about myself on the radio, but
So I haven't read this series. I'm going to assume that the animals are the good guys?
Oh yeah, definitely. They are the freedom fighters. Have you ever watched the Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon?
I've seen clips. Mm-hmm. I've never actually seen.
Well, there are several Sonic the Hedgehog cartoons. But at the risk of going into that for the rest of the hour, I'll say that one of those series is also the basis of the Archie Comics series, and they get very into the this group of animals being like a liberatory and sort of like resistance force against a robot army.
Is this Sonic Underground?
No, that was I think that was produced in the UK. That's a different one. It's like a totally different canon too. Sonic has siblings in Sonic Underground.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay, again, at the risk of going into this for the rest of the show, robots versus animals.
Yes.
Yeah, that seems to be the wavelength we're on here. So we're going to play next randomly but with purpose. I gave you the whole list of acoustic instruments that we're playing here.
When was this recorded?
This was recorded on December 28th of 2017.
Shocker.
Yeah, and this one is about 6 minutes long. So we'll listen to it. If you have thoughts on this that you'd like to share with us, we can be reached via email or Twitter. It's iHearIC@gmail.com or at iHearIC on Twitter. And we'd be very happy to hear your thoughts, but we're also writing down our own thoughts, so do not try to overthrow our thoughts with your thoughts.
Yeah, and we don't seem to be coming to any sort of consensus at the end of today, so, I mean, if you're listening to this as a podcast,
feel free to
well.
contribute. Yep.
Yeah.
Here we go, randomly but with purpose. We're back. That was randomly, but with purpose. I don't remember why you said that, but but that was something David said while we were recording, and that's just what I put as the code name for this track. We are currently in the midst of a production meeting, deciding what we really want to call that track and what we want to do with it in terms of placement on a larger album or musical project. David, what are your thoughts on that track we just listened to?
Well, as it started, the first thing that evoked in my mind was a creaking house. Maybe one that's kind of been abandoned and has some plant overgrowth or fungal overgrowth. I mean, I think I'm starting to be influenced by our earlier discussion, but that's why we're having this discussion. Mm-hmm. Tangled mess. I wrote the word tango in there, kind of with the fish.
Tangled tango mess.
I was trying to think of a pun there, and I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So I just put tango ?
Yeah, it's kind of nice just putting the words together without putting effort into a pun. Tangled tango. It's kind of nice.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I guess the fish kind of like drove the rhythm and the ostinato and everything. So I thought of like the woods because the fish was made out of wood. Tree sap, something like that. Mm-hmm. While the that harp thing that you were playing reminded me of like a silky spider web.
Okay.
So
cool.
That's my thoughts.
Yeah. My voice is starting to get a little scratchy since we've been doing radio for an hour and a half. Speaking of doing radio for an hour and a half, it's time for your second weather report of today's show. It's currently 4:34 p.m. on Sunday, May 26th. It is still partly cloudy. It is currently 77 degrees Fahrenheit with 0% chance of precipitation, 56% humidity, and wind coming from the north at 6 miles per hour.
That's a major 11 chord.
I didn't get the harmony, but I will fill that in my mind. Here are the thoughts from my mind for the track we just listened to. For starters, it was like invoking thoughts of established composers. So I was hearing some Harry Parch style stuff. Are you familiar with his work?
Not too much, but
he built his own instruments, and his music is very unique because of it. Mm-hmm. So he was very obsessed with tuning systems. So the 12-tone equal temperament that almost all of our music now conforms to. Yep. He was disgusted by.
Oh, so he's a peer of Ives, I guess.
Sort of. So his obsession was in like creating instruments that could play pure intervals. So like a perfect fifth in our equal temperament system is not exactly the right ratio.
Right. They have to lower the fifth. A little bit.
Yeah, I believe it's like very slightly flat, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know this. I don't remember the specifics exactly, but in terms of acoustics, the physics are not exact.
Right.
We made some compromises to have a system that is like equally in tune across the board. You know.
Yes.
So his instruments, he has like a lot of extra notes on them so that he can get perfect intervals from like every note.
That's pretty cool.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So his music is sort of like this. Like it's very folky.
Is it like stringed instruments?
Mostly like mallet percussion actually.
Oh, okay.
But there is some substring stuff. And he does have pieces where there's like that ascending glissando, like what I was doing with the lap harp in this one.
Yeah.
And that's what reminded me of it specifically.
Gotcha.
And then I was also reminded of Steve Reich with the, I don't know how we were accomplishing it, but it sounded like there was like a bowed string going on for a little bit. That sound.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that sort of sounds like some Steve Reich music.
Trains, but it's animals.
Right, yeah. I also wrote Lowrider because of the...
I can hear that.
Yeah, because of the percussion, we got a little bit of the song Lowrider by the band War. I wrote down just some vague words. Rural, back porch, country. Yep. And then I thought back to a previous work in this series on New Year's Eve for Cats that Chris and I put together there's sort of a vague progression there from city to rural to space. There's like 3 different settings, and the album sort of takes you from one into the next and then eventually up into space. And so those like 3 specific settings, it seems like we've got sort of like we could place everything we do sort of in those 3 modes.
Yeah, like this is very much a rural song.
Yeah, this is in
I
the
would
middle.
agree.
It's a rural thing.
Yep.
So that's just something that I am analyzing and thinking about here. And then I also wrote down 4-2-4-1. Do you know what I'm doing?
4-2-4-1. Is that leet speak for something?
No, it's not. It's the rhythm that I think the banjo was doing that, or maybe it was the mandolin. Do we have Roland on the mandolin there? Is that right? Dun, 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 dun. You know, it's on beats 4-2, 4 and 1.
Oh, I thought you meant that there's a measure of 4/4 and a measure of 2.
No, not meter, but
I saw you conducting in the room, and it was in 4/4 time.
Yeah. If we're thinking of it in 4/4, the like the string hits
4,
come on 4-2,
4-1.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I don't really have much in terms of a title there. I just like have ideas of what I was hearing.
It evokes a mood.
Yeah.
That's the name of the song. It evokes a mood.
It evokes a mood. I'm gonna write that down. It's something to think about. It evokes a mood. So we've got ideas there, but maybe not the beginnings of a title.
Yeah, I think we're close. Kind of as we're starting to understand the larger concept.
Yeah, like we know what that piece is, but we don't know what to call it exactly.
Yep. Do you have any thoughts from the day or from Chris or anything?
I don't. I don't think I do, and I will try not to draw my head completely away from the microphone again, like I just did. I do. Sorry. I have a note here from Roland, actually. He said, it sounds like the soundtrack to a psychological thriller.
Like Psycho.
Yeah. Which I actually feel completely differently. So that's interesting.
A thrillological psycho?
No. Like it doesn't, it's honestly like kind of calm to me. Like not that psychological or thrilling. How do you feel about that?
I guess there's not a lot of dissonance in it. I mean, the chords that are coming from the banjo, I think, are pretty out there.
Right.
But there's not really anything that it clashes with.
Yeah, it doesn't sound super dissonant.
Yeah, and it's kind of starts in one place and ends in that same place.
Yeah.
There's not really any rising tension.
Yeah.
Not to belittle Roland's thoughts. I kind of hear it in the instrumentation.
I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm just actually, you know what, the like bowed string sound, that part I do hear as kind of a psychological thriller thing.
Yeah.
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 Okay. I think we are ready to move on to the next one. Do you agree?
I agree.
Okay. This one is sort of okay, so the code name for it is Radio Hell. And it's sort of like I've done radio stuff before with you guys where I just like have a bunch of clock radios in the garage and I just like mess around with them and then you guys play as well.
Yep.
You're playing your instruments, I'm playing radios. I have a sort of fascination. I have a fascination. I don't know. I like that word.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a fascinating fashion.
Yeah. Fascination is the effect of like being very interested in clothing and style. Fascination. Sounds like a show on TLC. Or a country that's very like focused on that kind of pursuit.
An entire country in pursuit of fashion?
Yeah. I'm going crazy. Sorry. Okay, so on this track specifically, Radio Hell, on the previous releases, we did a similar track where I was playing radios, you guys are playing instruments.
Yep.
On this one, Chris is playing the Yamaha DD55 electronic drum set. Roland is playing the Micro Korg. David is playing his Korg Triton Extreme. Alex is on vocals and percussion, and I was playing the radios, as already mentioned. So I haven't listened to this one for a while, but I know that in editing it, I cut a lot out. It used to be like twice as long as this.
Mm-hmm. I think this one, unlike the others, you can kind of hear actual radio songs, right? Isn't there like some Billy Joel in this one? Or
right, there is. There's a little bit of sampling because of just what happened to be on the radio at the time, as I was like searching through the frequencies. But I did a little bit of like hardcore audio editing on it, so you can tell like a computer did something to it, which most of the time I
that's right. Yep,
from.
you did edit that in that way.
So this is Radio Hell. It's about 6.5 minutes long, and we're gonna listen to it and write down our thoughts as we've been doing for the past hour and 43 minutes.
that I knew I was going to be terrified on my way to work, because it's normally about a 20-minute drive from my house in Tiffin to here in Cedar Rapids, so I can go to work. Well,
Support for KRUI is brought to you in part by The Broken Spoke. They offer new and used bicycles, cycling accessories, and also service all kinds of bikes. They can be found in Iowa City at their new address, 757 South Gilbert Street. For more information, visit thebrokenspoke.com or call 319-338-8900.
And we're back with the last few minutes of today's episode of iHearIC Radio, I think.
Yeah,
You feel like we're drawing down to a close here?
I think so. Yeah.
All right, so before that, Grant Spots, you heard our track codenamed Radio Hell, and we are brainstorming what to do with that track.
I forgot how much I really enjoy that one.
Yeah, that is really fun.
It seems very, very intentional. I mean, it's definitely all improvised, but it kind of starts in one place, and then I think when that kind of synth repeater arpeggiated thing kicks in, it kind of takes on a different direction, and it's really neat.
Yeah, I think it's a lot better than the previous radio track that we did, which I also enjoy, but like this one, the radio dominates it a little bit less. Like it definitely like starts it off, but it's more of like part of the ensemble.
And the drum machine meshes with it really, really well too, because
Yeah.
it sounds so distorted that it could, it kind of meshes well with the radios that are kind of tuned to the static.
Yeah, it's got that sort of dirty signal sound.
Yeah.
So here are my notes. I have an inclination when we have a track like this where like you can hear people talking, you can hear the words they're saying, to like use those words
Yep.
in the title, which is what we did with the old radio track. So here are a few of those quotes that I wrote down. Go ahead with your own life, which is obviously from the Billy Joel thing. I never said I was a victim. The best moments of 2017. His room was filled with smoke. Because he really wants to know. I am not afraid to admit. And 20-minute drive. And then I only made one other note here. Is there some sort of link between the human voice that we hear from the radios and Alex humming? Which is, I think, the first time today we've heard one of us like intentionally making, like using our voice as part of the music.
Yeah. That was kind of the low drone that you kind of heard at parts, right?
Yeah, you can hear him sort of going,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you wrote those down, because I assumed that that's the direction that you wanted to take this, like with the last one, and I didn't remember much of what was said.
Yeah.
I did like the kind of the smoke thing, that there were some some interesting quotes that, I don't know, my head was still kind of in the, like, if this was a big story, what's going on?
Right.
And to me, this seems like kind of the climax sort of thing, like some kind of hostile takeover, or I wrote distress signal.
yeah.
Frankenstein Radio Hour I also wrote down. And then this interesting phrase that I've never heard before, but maybe it's a good title: communication breakdown.
Yeah, where'd you get that from?
I don't know. I wrote communication breakdown, but it's animals.
Yep.
There wasn't really too much animal in that one. I'm just kind of doing a recurring joke for the sake of humor.
Yeah.
Tired humor.
Yeah, we are broadcasting right now, so it's very nice to do a thing like that for the listeners.
Yes.
Some sort of entertainment here. Yeah, so I don't think we have anything definitive on that track, but we have the idea of what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't have any notes from anyone else on this one either.
Okay.
So I think it's time to do the end of the show routine. Do you have anything that you would like the listeners to know about before we go home, David?
Nothing really right now. And whenever I'm on, I'll say that I am working on something, which I still am. I am in the late stages of purchasing a house.
Oh, yeah.
So with that comes the chance to actually record stuff.
And what's the address?
I'd tell you, but then I'd have to force you to censor everything.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm gonna have a space for myself, and so then I'll actually start maybe recording stuff. I've recorded some things. I have a bunch of different ideas. I I kind of, for the listener who doesn't know, I like steering into the prog territory of things. I play a lot of keyboards, so I'm going to try something in that vein, along with some more improvised sounds from the likes of my Korg and my Mini Moog and some other things as well.
Yeah.
So I have a Bandcamp page. I have a SoundCloud page, which I kind of forgot about until you started linking to it on this podcast. So I did kind of revive it recently. Right. It was on an email that I don't have anymore. So I was able to switch that around. So I kind of use both. I put just kind of random recordings that I do spur the moment on there. Little solo improvs with keyboards and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So
his name is David Clair, spelled the usual way. There's no E at the end of Clair. It's just Clair. If you listen to this show as a podcast, you can find links to all that stuff in the episode description. But before I tell you more about that, let me give you some plugs for some events coming up. I'm sort of foregoing the longer list of events for today, just so I can put a little bit more emphasis on something that we've cooked up with the University of Iowa Stanley Museum of Art and Feed Me Weird Things and Public Space One. Together with those organizations, iHearIC is presenting the Ramp Festival coming up on June 9th from 1 to 4 p.m. This is at the Clock Tower parking ramp over on Street and Street, the corner over there. It's
you know the one.
Yeah, it's across from the Yacht Club on Lynn Street. I'm sure, like, if you live in town, you know what the Clock Tower ramp is. This will feature performances by Precious, Haunter, Christine Burke Ensemble, Carlos Catallo Solaris, Tree Cloud, and more. They'll be performing, I say they, but I should say we, because I'll be down there too. We'll be performing in the center of the parking ramp. There's like a, just sort of a cavity there where no cars are. The cars are up here on the ramp, and we're in the middle.
Right, like a big old spiral.
Around. Yeah, we're in the center of that spiral. Down at ground level, we'll be playing some experimental music, some less experimental music, and the hope is that it will be reverberating throughout the parking structure, and everybody that's coming through will hear it and want to consume some of it with their time.
So the ramp will still be used for parking during this period of time?
Absolutely. It'll be open for business as usual. People will be coming in, parking. The cars driving around and the radio is playing will be sort of part of the experience. And if you are not able to attend in person, our plan is to broadcast this event live here on KRUI. Again, that's June 9th, 1 to 4 p.m. I also plan on recording that broadcast and hopefully recording an output from the mixer at the event. So I'll have audio from the thing that will be, released to the public in some fashion. We're also doing some video documentation of this as well, led by Jake Jacobs, who has a show here on KRUI on Friday nights called Test of Lime. He'll be doing a lot of documentary stuff with it.
Neat.
Yeah, so that's going to be like huge. Hopefully, I'm very excited about it, which is why I gave it so much attention here in this plug segment. Other than that, we've got videos from the May 4th iHearIC Showcase concert at Uptown Bills available at our YouTube page. Next week's radio show will be not at the usual time. I'm working a show at the Englert, so I'll either do the show early in the morning of June 2nd or I'll do something on the 3rd instead, but I definitely will be doing it at some point. Keep an eye on our social media to find out when I'm going to do a radio show. And you can find our social media by going to iHearIC.com. If you scroll to the bottom of that page, you'll find links to our Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Patreon, iTunes, Google Play, Mixcloud, SoundCloud, and Stitcher profiles.
What a mouthful. Good job.
Thank you. I say it every week. If you subscribe to the podcast, you can find links to artists' profiles elsewhere if you want to find more of their work. If you are an artist and you have music you'd like us to hear, or you want to get involved or in touch with this project in any way for any reason, the best way to reach us is via email, ihearic@gmail.com. Okay, it's time to close out the show. Thank you for being here, David. I think that was a very productive meeting that we just had.
Yes, thanks for having me, Justin.
I think we really figured out where we're going with this thing, so I'm really happy that we did this.
Yep, we've got a kind of large scale scope.
Yeah.
I gotta iron out a few of the details, but And we still have 4 tracks to go, yeah?
Yes, we've got 4 tracks to go on the 2017 recordings, and then we've got another 8 from the 2018 recordings. Mm-hmm. So sometime later in the summer, we'll keep doing more of these meetings here on the air. So stay tuned for that.
Tell us your thoughts. If you have any suggestions, like we had been saying.
Yeah, we'd love to hear your suggestions. Even if we discard them immediately, we would appreciate reading them at the very least. And today we're going to close out today's show with some music that did not involve either of us. We're going to be a little bit less self-involved here for a few minutes. Our friend Alexandro Cazares, who played with Sean Miller at the Java House a few months ago on one of our live concerts, he just released his jazz album, which is called Within Sight. I bought a copy of it from him Friday night at a listening party that he hosted at his home, featuring live poetry readings and a couple of live performances from his album collection of music.
Super cool.
Yeah, it's a good album. I think it's well worth your time. So I'm going to play one track from it today. This is called The Absurd Garden, and you can find the whole album on Spotify and iTunes and all those places. Again, his name is Alexandro Cazares. Here is The Absurd Garden. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed your time with us today at the production meeting, and I hope that you will consider joining us again in the future. Have a good Memorial Day, everybody. This is Justin Comer signing off.
Bye.
Whoa, dude.
You've got it on the sound alternative, KRUI.
Exactly.